Hello, everybody. My name is Tom Fender, Development Director at TWC, the Digital and Data Experts. I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Gray. Now, Simon's known by, I suspect, everybody in the industry. He is the founder and MD of Boost Energy Drinks. Looks like he's coming live from his Swedish log cabin, but he assures me it's from his home office. Good morning, Simon. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Tom. I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. And as you said, yes, I'd probably like to be in a Swedish log cabin, but no, I am at home in Leeds.
Good, thank you, thank you. Well, listen, thank you for this. I should also point out that Simon and Boost are the first supplier that we have asked to come and speak to us on the Soundbites, and we're delighted to have him. So we're now, 5-6 weeks in, Simon. I guess obviously Boost is now fully adapted, but turn the clock back 6 weeks or so ago. How quickly were you able to adapt?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think generally we do view ourselves as quite a progressive and modern type of employer. We've been employing sort of flexible working practices, embracing tech for quite a while. So we were already a little bit on the kind of the journey that a lot more people have been sort of thrust into kind of very, very quickly for a while. So we were fairly well placed, but at the same time, this is a totally new experience for everybody. So we're all sort of kind of, learning on the job. As a business, we generally try and have kind of good stock buffers in place. So when the panic buying came around again, we were pretty well placed. And as a sales and marketing business, we're always in touch with either end of our chain, just to make sure that things are robust. So that was fairly well rooted already. I guess the bit that's been different for us as a business that has a very tight knit, small family run feel about it. We're used to that regular face to face type interaction around the business in the same way that the sales team are with customers. So I guess you can't be as prepared for things like that. But the culture that we do have and the values that are important to us, we talk a lot about simplicity. We talk a lot about being open-minded. We talk a lot about opportunity. Again, the things that have been at the forefront of our business DNA for a number of years. I guess have kind of stood us in good stead, and then really we've kind of moved on like everybody has, but at quite a pace. Maintaining those relationships, regular check-ins, both internally and externally with suppliers, customers, business partners, regular briefings in the business, the Zoom call that everybody's doing these days, the social drinks. So yeah, there's been a lot going on quite quickly, but we're pretty well prepared, and yeah, I guess pretty proud about how well the team have been supporting each other and the resilience that they've shown.
Have you had to furlough any members of staff?
We have had a few. I guess we've been looking from the outset at workload and also people's dependency needs, family commitments, that type of thing. So there has been a couple of roles that have been furloughed. Yeah.
Okay. How have things been kind of performance-wise? Obviously, you've had the benefit of good weather for the last 4 to 5 weeks, but then you've had unprecedented demand and challenges in other areas. How has performance been?
Sure. It's been not bad, I think is the simple answer. I mean, we had a good start to the year, so Q1 was generally pretty good. You'll have seen, and everybody will have seen out there that convenience generally is having a pretty good time of it. I think it's fair to say probably the big city centres, the big transport conurbations of London, Belfast, Glasgow have probably been the hardest hit, both from the footfall being down, but I guess some of the stores that you see there tend to be quite small, and I guess have been struggling with some of the challenges of either supply chain getting to them being family run, getting to cash and carries potentially, and also applying the social distancing measures. I think it's varied by category. I think that's pretty clear as well. I think a lot of fresh has been sort of quite hard hit. A lot of ambient groceries well up. Beers, wines and spirits, because of the pub closures, that's been really having a a good time of it in convenience. I think in impulse generally, though, with footfall being down, things have been hit. The energy category, I think, has been pretty robust actually under the circumstances. Yes, it's been hit, but people are still working. They're doing it from home. The key workers, there's plenty still out there that are needing, functional drinks to get them through. So, from that perspective, it's been okay. I think the weather you talked about, weather's generally never a bad thing, but I don't think it's really reached the limits where it's really started to drive, really significant uplift, within drinks. So yeah, I think it's, footfall's probably been down. I think basket spend has been up. And I think it's been interesting also, and again, it's these things we think about, well, is this what the future could look like? Where you've got obviously the delivered to consumer end coming in now, so the likes of Deliveroo, Uber, that type of thing, coming into the convenience channel. So while I think footfall can be down, you're not necessarily seeing spend going down because spend is still going through the tills. So yeah, it's been interesting times, but yeah, we're bearing it pretty well under the circumstances.
Good. I'm delighted to hear that. How has Boost maintained contact with your customers, wholesalers, up and down the land?
Yeah, well, I think this is something that we pride ourselves on. I think everybody's pretty clear about our strategy in terms of, total exclusive to this channel. So I think our relationships have been really strong again, pre-COVID. I think it's given us an opportunity to think differently about how we engage with people, not having that face-to-face contact, at head offices, not having the face-to-face contact in depot, has been a challenge, but I guess it has challenged the thinking. I think first of all, I think, again, our focus on the channel has ensured availability. So there's been lots of positive conversations, through the chain about stock. The sales and marketing teams, have been very focused in terms of sharing insights, stock levels, the type of order capture conversations, the types of promotions that may not be relevant. We've actually brought some retailers into some of our internal meetings just to really give us a real live touch point with what's going on at the sharp end. We've had a pretty cool, I never thought I'd hear us say a pandemic response plan, but we have that's really figured on supporting the independent retailer. So we've been working on a retail care package that we've put a good few hundred into the marketplace now, which again supporting the retailer with point of sale around health and hygiene, around safety, around distancing, some free goods in there to help the retailers through this tough time, and the same with cash and carries. So yeah, I think we've been pretty close to the trade all of our sort of working life, but it's probably got even tighter. And I guess we've taken a view that you're going to get remembered, I guess, for how you maneuver yourself through, the tough times, and hopefully the trade are getting a really positive experience through what is quite a challenge at the moment.
I love the idea of actually bringing retailers into your internal team meetings, obviously presumably through Zoom or Teams or whatever. That sounds so simple, sounds so obvious, but presumably really impactful, really helpful as well.
Well, it really is. I mean, I think brands generally like to think that we know what we're doing. But, I guess one of our other business values is together we succeed. So tapping into knowledge, especially for people really at the front end, especially at a time when the pace of things is changing so quickly and you need up-to-date, relevant, I mean, you always want relevant insight, but this is like really, ultra relevant now. And yeah, again, those relationships that we've had over the years that we can tap into now to ask those questions and to bring people in, has been very welcomed. And yeah, then it's just a matter of, can we embrace the tech? I won't go as far as saying it was seamless, but within a couple of goes at it, we were up and running, and it was brilliant. And I think the retailers really appreciate it as well.
Absolutely. You've mentioned insights and data a couple of times. Boost has always been quite data hungry, or within the marketplace. Have you been accessing and procuring more data and more insight to help? Because
yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we've known each other a long time in various guises, and whether it's wholesaler data, whether it's retailer, data. Yeah, we have quite a passion for it, ourselves. We've always been, quite on the front foot about what you can do with the data. And I guess we've done things historically to drive our brand plans. And if anything, we try and use it to whatever gut feel we have, we're aligning that with fact now, and then what can we do with it? And again, we were talking before about, we've got less touch points now. So to have really stuff that you can touch and feel of what's going on without being able to visibly see it is one thing. But again, to be able to manage this period of uncertainty, to keep it up to date, yeah, we have dipped into different types of data that we may not have had, or have more regular churn of data, so we're right on top of it. But I guess it's really helping both internally manage our business, but also, well, the relationship with suppliers, absolutely, but also with the wholesale sector, in terms of, what does their inventory look like? What's the rate of sale? Are pack formats changing? What are the geographical trends that we're seeing? Is what's happening in the north the same as the south? Because I think we're probably quite clear that generally it's very different before you bring what's going on now. And I think also for us, because we're in the process of going through a really exciting brand refresh, all those types of things that we need to be thinking about were on the radar already. You tear on top sort of the pandemic effect as well, and arguably data's sort of never been more critical to sort of help us navigate through.
Great. Talking of kind of brand refresh and initiatives going on, Boost is this year been bringing out NPD, and how's that gone?
Well, NPD, it's an exciting thing, for all of us. We've been looking to stretch, our brand as a challenger brand across the spectrum of functional drinks in recent years, from energy to isotonics to protein. And yeah, I think you're talking about our iced coffee launch.
Correct.
But, it is a real exciting one for us and for the trade. I think we've all seen, the iced coffee boom in recent years through the coffee shop culture. And there's some great brands out there leading the way. We were really keen to bring, a good quality, great value challenger proposition. And we launched it first week of March. So, on the one hand, timing is everything. We had a great joined up campaign with the trade. So the initial push within depot, the initial distribution drive activity took place. We got great listings, we got some strong sightings. So the initial sales are great. Absolutely, is it a bit of a challenge when retailers are not going into the depot, when people are very much thinking about core range and availability? Absolutely. So that has been a bit of a challenge, but that's very much a short-term challenge. The feedback, I mean, we've probably, it's been a good few years since, we've had some of the feedback, not just about our brand, that the feedback on our NPD relative to anything is really right up there. There's a real appetite for this one. And I think it just helps grow the whole category. So yeah, it's been successful. It is on plan. I think we're always going to be investing in it as we go out in time, but I think there's going to have to be potentially a second push behind it, really, to make sure it gets ignited. But yeah, it's a long-term play.
Great. We wish you every success with that. It's an obvious launch. We've talked about engagement with the trade, and I'd like to talk about engagement with consumers. I've been watching on social media a lot of the excellent, outstanding work you've been doing with supporting hospital staff and nurses and doctors. But what's kind of the strategy around that? I suppose there's obviously a short-term current one, but a longer one.
Yeah, sure. I can't say I've noticed you on social media, Tom.
I try to overcome my natural shyness by just posting the odd one or two.
Yeah, you're brilliant. You're very compelling. In fact, I saw what you put about is it e-commerce in the UK the other day?
Yes, about
other countries.
The UK being a much higher percentage of retail sales being on e-commerce than virtually any other Western nation. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think we both like social media for the right reasons. But I think, yeah, you're right. In terms of the short term, we have a vision as a business to energize everybody every day, energize the nation, give people the drinks that they need to get them through the daily grind. And absolutely for the key workers, and hats off, we all salute them. Nothing has been, no brand, I think, has done you know, anything that they wouldn't feel natural doing in terms of trying to support, you know, what's going on out there. And sampling actually for the workplace has been part of our, you know, brand plans in recent years. We have absolutely been more targeted. We've probably put out over 100,000 units of product into the front line in recent weeks. We've got additional amounts, you know, coming through in various guises the next few weeks as well. I think in terms of the focus of the brand plan, you know, we were ready to be unveiling our latest TV campaign coming into, you know, May and June. Naturally, like all brands, we're reappraising, you know, what we can do, you know, most effectively. But social media for a lot of us has absolutely been upweighted. You know, arguably people are spending more time, arguably at different times on different content on social media. So yeah, the heavyweight campaign in social media is absolutely there. We've also been putting out hopefully some pretty relevant content in terms of boredom buster challenges for people who might find themselves with a few extra hours at home. Some helpful hints and tips about, you know, how to get you through the day. A bit about savvy shopping and value and that type of thing. So yeah, we've been definitely upweighting things. And again, we've talked a bit about, you know, this was absolutely the recent past and the current. I mean, we wonder about how big this will be, you know, in the near future as well.
Well, let's finish. Let's make the last question on that around as the time passes, and we obviously expect lockdown pressures to ease a little bit over time. How do you see the market evolving, say, over the next 12 months?
Well, nobody has a crystal ball, but I guess it's usually a good thing to look back to help you plan looking forwards. I think if we think back to the last financial crisis, 2009, 2010, and there was probably a double dip actually for another couple of years. But I think what we saw there was the rise of the savvy shopper, that mix and match where people were shopping both the premium, you know, and the value end. I think that trend has absolutely stayed, and I think there were certain brands, the likes of Aldi, the likes of Greggs the Bakers, Primark, EasyJet, a number of challenger brands, including ourselves, that really kicked on the back of the last recession. You know, challenging the thinking of the shopper. I think a lot of those brands, you know, have really had traction since then. So I think as we look to the next 12 months, I think it will be absolutely about probably the winning brands, the tightening of ranges, the optimizing of space, the understanding the needs of the consumer. Absolutely, that flight to value, I think, is here to stay, and is probably going to be, you know, even more relevant, you know, than ever. So yeah, we've been building ourselves as a brand, you know, as the other brands I've just talked about as an example for nearly 20 years now, and we just want to make sure that we're out there offering, you know, what people want in the right formats at the right time.
Brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Simon. We wish you every bit of success to you and to the whole Boost team, who are friends to us all. And thank you ever so much.
Well, thanks very much for the opportunity. And hopefully it won't be too long till we catch up together face to face. So yeah, keep well and stay safe.